Hey everyone, Ken here with Ken's Creations and Chalk Couture. I'm so excited to share with you how I created this Surf Club board. Now this board uses a ton of different transfers, including the brand new Surf Club transfer, the Watts of Love Create Your Own Sunshine transfer, the Fresh Catch transfer, and the Endless Love Laughter Laundry transfer. So let's get started. For the project, I chose the 12 by 18 8-in frame. I love our 8-in frames. They're magnetic. They have a beautiful distress frame. They are one of my favorite boards to use. The colors we're going to be using for this specific project are Peacock, Morning Sky, Couture Coral, Parakeet, and Buttermilk, Bumblebee, Bright White. And of course, all of these amazing tools, which I'll explain as we go through the video. We're going to start with the fuzzing cloth. The fuzzing cloth can clean your board and also prepare your transfers. Now, a lot of the transfers I am using, I've already used, so I do not need to fuzz them. But if you have a new transfer, you want to fuzz them about 3 to 5 times to make sure they're not sticky. We're going to start with the Surf transfer, which has the beautiful vintage fan on the project. I want to make sure this is centered in the board. This is the bottom part of our van. Use the 4-inch squeegee to make sure there is no ripples or bubbles. Now, the van does have distress marks on it, so if you do make a little bit of a mistake, it kind of hides because of those beautiful distress marks, which I absolutely love. We're going to grab our peacock color and add an ample amount onto the van. Now you can remove all of that excess using that 4-inch squeegee, put it right back into the jar, and then peel your transfer up straight towards the sky, just like Buzz Lightyear, and look at that beautiful bottom of our van. Now I use a hairdryer on a cool setting. This is a layered piece, so you want to make sure this layer is completely dry before we move on to our next layer, which is the top part of the van. Now the van does have registration marks that if you do want to use them, it will help you line them up. I do not use the registration marks. I like to eyeball it. Essentially, I just center everything. You can kind of see the bottom layer through our transfers, and that's how I use it as a guide. Once again, we want to make sure it's on the board completely perfect, no ripples, nothing. And I'm using Morning Sky for this color. I thought it was a good contrast between the peacock. Once again, remove all of your excess, put it back into the jar, peel that transfer up. Now peel it very slowly and straight up because you don't want to peel that bottom layer. But as long as you dried it and you're using the right consistency of paste, you should not have any problem. The next step is the wheels. This van cannot get anywhere without any wheels. Now, I've not used the wheels, so I am going to quickly fuzz it one time just because I want to make sure it does not pull up that bottom layer. And I'm going to use bright white on the tires. Now, if you're using on a whiteboard, you could do these in black, which would be great because most tires are black. But look at it. It's so cute. This van I absolutely love, and it's making a comeback. I'm telling you, Volkswagen is releasing a new van. Now, this would not be a surf van without a surfboard on top. So we're going to place that in the center of the van, and I'm going to use Couture Coral, which is a beautiful summer pink. It reminds me of flamingos, and it's perfect for the beach. We'll put a pretty good amount, remove the excess, peel it up, and ta-da! Our van is done. The Surf Club transfer comes with 2 sentiments, one that says an original sense and Surf Club, and we're going to use Couture Coral right underneath the van to say an original sense. Now, I wanted to frame this sentiment, so this is where Fresh Catch comes in. I'm going to be using the nautical knots on each side of that sentiment to kind of box it in. Now, when I use this, number one, you want to make sure it is completely fuzzed because you do not want to pull up your sentiment. You're also going to need to use our placement tape. I wanted the knots in the center, but you can see the knots then, or the rope, fall into my sentiment. So we need to mask that and block that. And you can use our placement tape. It's got the same consistency of our silk screens. And then I can just use my white paste over that and not worry about hitting my sentiment there in the Couture Coral. And look at it. Ta-da! It looks great. We do need to clean this transfer really quick, so I'm going to wash it and dry it and flip it and use it. So the way I dry my transfers and wash is I use our board erasers to wash. Then I put it sticky side down, grab our fuzzing cloth and dry it, remove all the moisture, and then turn it sticky side up and pat it dry with another fuzzing cloth. If you do this, you should be able to use our transfers right away. The stickiness comes right back. So we're just going to mirror the other side, place it, and grab that placement tape. That placement tape is going to block where you don't want your white Chalkology paste to go. So now you can put your white paste down and know that it's going exactly where you want it. Remove the excess and look at how great it looks. This is why I love mixing our transfers. A lot of our transfers complement each other and it looks great. We're going to move our attention to the palm tree. Now the palm tree actually sits behind the van. So how do we do this? Because when we place the palm tree, and if we were to paste this, the tree would be in front of the van. So we have to mask the parts that we do not want. Grab that placement tape and start placing it on the parts of the van that you do not want the tree to be. So essentially, we only want to see the tree behind the van and through the window. So use placement tapes. You can tear it into little pieces and cover the parts that are in front of the van that you don't want the paste to go through. So essentially, we just want the tree that's behind the van and just that little tiny spot of the window that we see the palm tree through. You're going to use that placement tape to cover everything else. There you go. Grab parakeet, and now we can paste the entire tree. You can paste right over the placement tape. Don't worry because you've masked it. And look at this when it removes it. You get a perfect look of that tree behind the van. Now, some people say, why didn't you just put the tree and then did the van over the tree? The reason I didn't do it that way is you will sometimes see the tree lines on the van because it's a layer of paste. So I choose to do it this way so that way you don't have the risk of all those layers showing through. But it looks great. So for the sun, I'm actually using the Watts of Love Create Your Own Sunshine. I love this sun. It's super cute. We are going to fuzz this a lot. It's a brand new transfer. And then I'm going to place it onto the board. Now, I'm going to do kind of an ombre effect using buttermilk, bumblebee, and marigold. So I'm going to start with marigold in the center. Then I'm going to grab bumblebee and do a circle around that. And I'm going to finish with the buttermilk around that. Then you can just take your finger and make a circle, remove the excess, grab a squeegee and go in a circle motion and make sure all of the sun is covered. Remove this transfer and you get this beautiful ombre sun. It just looks amazing. I love that effect. Now we want to do our surf club sentiment. So I wanted this to match above where below it said an original sense. And so we're going to place it pretty much center in the board. I love the font they used on this. It has two little lines, which is very neon looking. It looks perfect in a Florida setting. I'm going to use Couture Coral, put a pretty ample amount down, remove all the excess, lift it up, and voila, look how great that looks. One more setting on the cool setting, and now we can do the final piece, which is the border at the top. That's where the Endless Love Laughter Laundry comes into play. Now, I've used this transfer so much, it's on its last legs, but what's great is it lines up perfect with the lines in Surf Club, so you can easily line it up. Mask the parts that you do not want it to be covering. So obviously we don't want it to go over our surf club, our sun, or our trees. So I'm using our placement tape one more time. Grab my bright white, place it on each side, and remove the excess. 1, 2, 3. Look at that, you guys. It looks so good. This is by far one of my favorite boards I've done in a long time, and I love the fact that we can mix our transfers to get a dynamic look. Let's take a closer look on the wall of what this looks like. Everyone loves this project, and I hope you enjoyed this project. All of the shopping links are down below. Thanks for watching, everyone.